Ave Legion and welcome to my channel. My name is Ludi and today we'll be doing our EU4 1.30 starting moves guide for Karaman. In this guide we'll be discussing the estates and economy, diplomacy and war preparations, early wars as well as forming Rum, later expansion after forming Rum, and the ideas you should go for first. Before we start the video, I'd appreciate it if you left a like, commented and subscribed as well as left the bell button on. If we can get this video to 900 likes, then I'm gonna do a giveaway for an EU4 DLC or the base game if you don't have it. Karaman does have a particular achievement to it, namely a hero's welcome, whereas Karaman you have to form the Sultanate of Rum. When discussing the estates, the first thing we'll be doing is summoning the diet and then go for whichever agenda best suits you, followed up by seizure of land to get rid of the negative modifiers. The privilege we're gonna be giving to the ulema is the oversight by the ulema. For the umera, we're gonna be giving the supremacy over the crown and monopoly on livestock. For the merchants guild, the free enterprises and the private trade fleets, and for the dhimmis, the promote the dhimmi nobility that gives you one more leader without upkeep. You start off with 2 merchants, but both of them are not doing anything because you don't have any access to any trade node except for your starting Aleppo trade node. That being said, however, send one of your merchants to the Aleppo trade node to collect there. It is your home trade node, but by sending a merchant to collect in there means you get some extra trade power and as such more income from the trade node. Next up, send the other merchant to collect in the Constantinople trade node. We don't have any presence there right now, but we're gonna be getting one very soon. The Karamani economy is absolute trash, so you definitely need to start expanding aggressively and fast in order to survive. We're gonna be getting the indebted to the Merchants Guild privilege to the Merchants Guild, which gives us 5 loans at 1% interest, but you lose 1 mercantilism and gain 0.5 inflation. However, we're not going to get this right now, since right now those loans are going to give us 100 ducats and that's not too much. After our initial conquests, those loans are going to give us a lot more and we need to focus on that first before giving the privilege. I do recommend, however, to focus on your military power and get a military advisor. If you can get a morale of armies or discipline guy, that would be perfect. Even defense, fort defense is good as well. As you can see, your starting ruler and heir are absolutely garbage, so we need to get rid of both of them. Do not get rid of them yet though, as we don't want to take the prestige hit. When it comes to your rivals, as always, doesn't matter who rivals you, what matters is who you rival, and the 3 first rivals should be your neighbors of Ramazan, dulkadir, as well as Cyprus. We're not going to be attacking Cyprus early on, but we will be eclipsing them, so it's good to have a smaller rival that we can eclipse. Ramazan and dulkadir will be our first targets, however, so it is vital that we set them up as our initial rivals. When it comes to alliances, your very first alliance should be with Akoyunlu. This will most of the times be available unless they rivaled you, in which case I actually recommend restarting the game, as the whole strategy revolves around having Akoyunlu as an ally. Wait for 1 day and then afterwards you can get 1 more ally. Make sure you get Kandar as an ally. The reason we want to get Akoyunlu on the first day is because if you don't ally them, they will ally the Ottomans, and we don't want that happening. If you want to get Crimea as an ally, most of the times you will have to improve relations with them, but it is worth it getting Crimea or later down the road Ajam, both of which will most likely will ally you if you improve relations at the start. That being said, start improving relations with the Crimeans, and in order to get ready for the wars to come, we're going to be recruiting the Free Company in Konya. This is going to set you over the force limit by 1. Don't despair, it's not a massive issue. Also recruit 2 more barks in the port of Ichel. We're not recruiting galleys because we don't have the sailors available for it, so the next best thing is actually just getting light ships. Attach the Free Company to your main army and make both your leader and your heir as generals. Hopefully they both die off very soon. Put one in the Free Company and the other one in the main army. After 1 month passes, if you were improving relations with the Crimeans and you hired the Free Company, you should be able to ally them, as the biggest issue was the size of your army. That was the reason they were not allying you, and by ticking this up even by once, it's gonna secure the alliance with them. So on the 22nd of December, when in my case it is available, send the diplomat and get the alliance with the Crimeans. This is a vital move that we need to do at the start. Next up, start getting claims in both dulkadir and Ramazan. Getting the claims will take a while, so make make sure that you don't maintain your army and mothball the one fort you have in Itel to save up on our finances. A couple of months before starting the war against Dulkadir, remember to start maintaining your armies and the fort so that when the war starts we are ready for it. Get the claim on Marash, and afterwards we're going to be declaring war on Dulkadir. Do not call in Akoyunlu just yet, since if you do call them in, they're going to want to take all of these lands, and we don't want that to happen. We want to take those lands for ourselves. Marash is actually a level 1 capital fort, so we don't need to stress about it too much. Should be quite easy sieging it down. After it falls, then we can attack the army in Divriji. Most of the time they will hide in Divriji. Bring both your armies to make sure you just stack wipe them, whilst we make sure that we have all of the provinces from Dulkadir. You can call in Akoyunlu, promise them land so they can join the war, and this way they can take care of the allies of Dulkadir for you. Most of the times they ally Hisan Kaifa. In my game now, they've actually allied Biapas, so with the Akoyunlus as an ally, they should rush for Biapas. Akoyunlu is also allied to Ramazan, and I want to attack Ramazan, and because I've co-belligerated them and they are in the war against Dulkadir, they are not gonna join as an ally of Ramazan, so I'm gonna attack Ramazan here, and I'm gonna take them out and peace them out before I peace out Dulkadir so that Akoyunlu does not join in the war against me. Remember to siege down the fort in Adana with your mercenary units, as they're gonna be using their own manpower pool, so you're not depleting your manpower pool from the main army. It is a level 1 fort, so it shouldn't be an issue sieging it down with 4,000 troops, as you only need 3,000 to have it sieged. Ignore any call for peace from Dulkadir, as we want to first off annex Ramazan. If we peaced out Dulkadir, that means that Akoyunlu is going to join against us in the war, as it is their ally Ramazan's defensive war. After you finish taking over Adana Kebab, make sure you annex them fully, and now we can even annex the Dulkadirs as well. Do remember, however, that before we can annex Dulkadir, you have to take care of their allies. As previously mentioned, a lot of the times that's going to be Hisan Kaifa, but in today's amazing edition, it actually is Biapas. We don't really want anything from Biapas, so just peace them out as a white peace if you want. You want to finish the war as soon as possible so that you can focus on your neighbors more than anything else. Do remember to cancel the military access that you actually got from the neighbors here in Georgia and Shirvan. Annexing all of Dulkadir should not be an issue with aggressive expansion. Once you reach somewhere around 50 or close to 50 prestige, make sure to disinherit your heir. And next up, we're going to be killing off our leader after we get an heir. And booyah, we actually got a 632, which is decent, not amazing. Also around this time you should start improving relations with the Mamluks, as we want to get them as an ally. And here's the sweet spot. Most of the times Akoyunlu actually attacks Trebizond, so you want to join that war and be at war with Trebizond yourself. Akoyunlu a lot of the times ally the Ottomans as well as you, but if they didn't ally the Ottomans, that is perfect. You don't need to rush with it. However, if they did ally the Ottomans, then you need to attack the Ottomans whilst Akoyunlu is in a war together with you, so that they don't join the war against you once you attack the Ottomans. After you've taken over the new lands from the Dulkadiri and Ramazan, give out the monopolies on wool and textiles so that you can get some extra money from it. And also make sure that you get the indebted to the Merchants Guild that gives you 5 loans of 1% interest. Hire a few mercenary companies, whichever have really good siege pips. So for example, the Kurdish company, around 3 more companies should be enough together with your main army to fight off the Ottomans. Do make sure you wait until the Ottomans are at war with somebody, preferably if they attack Albania, which is going to call in the Venetians. That would be perfect, since the Venetian fleet is going to help with keeping the Ottomans trapped in the Balkans. But if that's not the case and they're just at war with the Byzantines, that will have to do as well. Regardless, make sure that you do declare on them once they are at war with somebody who has a fleet at least, as your own fleet is not going to be enough to hold them in the Balkan side of the Ottoman lands. Alternatively, you could also vassalize Ramazan and use their fleet. I would not recommend it though, as we're going to be getting other vassals soon. Once you see something like this happen, this means the Ottomans lost an army and they're rebuilding, so that means the war is going pretty badly for them. Yep, minus 20%. This is basically your moment to strike right now. Looks like Naples is in the war as well. That's pretty good. Make sure you get 2 army groups. The first army group should be the one that has the mercenary general with the siege pip, and the second one should be your main battle group here. Declare war on the Ottomans for one of your corps, whichever is perfect for you. I would recommend one in these areas here, and go to war with the Ottomans. Make sure you start sieging Ankara as soon as you start the war. Remember that Akoyunlu is still allied to the Ottomans, so once they finish their war against Trebizond, they'll be coming for you. That being said, their army should not be enough to siege down Trebizond. The only reason they attacked is because they were confident you're gonna help them, which is not gonna be the case, of course. This is the time you want to get an admiral as well, and bring your admiral into the Sea of Marmara. Make sure you siege down Biga as soon as you can, and then after you've taken Biga, go for Kocaeli as well. It is vital that you take this before they peace out the Albanians. Having the Sea of Marmara also means that it's going to be faster sieging down Kocaeli. After you finish Ankara, start carpet sieging the eastern parts of the Ottoman Empire and take out whatever stragglers you can take along the way. Securing Kocaeli is extremely important as it means pretty much all of Anatolia is going to be up for grabs. Okay, so this actually will never happen in your game. Well, this changes things. Right. Well, if you're extremely lucky and the Albanians actually manage to defeat the Ottomans and give you back your cores, that's going to make it a lot more harder because the next part of the plan was to actually vassalize Byzantium. Let's consider that in your game, Albania is not actually going to win the war as they're not going to be having Naples and everybody else in the war. Regardless of whether the Albanians won the war and return your cores and whatever happens in your game, you need to focus on taking over all of the Anatolian side. Don't even bother with the Balkan side as you're not going to be strong enough to go to the Balkan side and fight off the Ottomans. It is unfortunate that they actually won the war as the best option would have been to vassalize Byzantium after this war. Around this time you should have maximum relations that you can get with the Mamluks too, and after the war is over you should be able to get an alliance with them. Make sure that you sit on the war score for at least until you get 60 to 70%. Normally, the Albanians would not win the war, and as such, you should be getting more war score from taking over Smyrna. And it is absolutely vital that you get the provinces of Karahisar, Sultanonu, Kocaeli, Kütahya, and Biga, as we want to basically cut off the Ottomans from reaching their Balkan holdings. If you do have the war score, I also recommend taking Hamid and Kirshehir, which are your cores from the very start and will definitely boost up your nation, and as much money as you can from them also. Right about now you should be making peace with Trebizond and betraying your Akoyunlu allies here. You can give them whatever, should be okay by cancelling alliance with Kandar or some other nation, or even a white peace should be good if you wait enough for it, so that you can ally the Mamelukes afterwards. And in the second war against the Ottomans, you will be using your Mamelukian allies. Remember to build up more ships whenever you get the sailors for them, as it is vital that we at least hold the Sea of Marmara so we can pass on over to the other side of the Balkans. Also start getting claims on Kandar as well as Akoyunlu itself after you get your claim on the Byzantines. If the Ottomans are significantly weakened, then the Mamluks 100% will be attacking them, and if you're lucky enough they might release something, or they might just ask them for monetary reparations, which means the Ottomans are going to be super close to going bankrupt. And it looks like the Mamluks actually took land from Anatolia. That is definitely not something I was hoping would happen. Make sure to make the Ottomans your new rival whenever it is available, as well as Akoyunlu whenever you have the slot for it, and get the claim on your friendly neighborhood Kandar. If you've managed to secure your alliance with the Mamelukes, I recommend at this point to just delete the fort that you have in Ichel, as well as the fort that you have in Kocaeli, as both of these are of zero importance to us, and we will not be using them, nor are they located in any significant strategic location, and by deleting them we can actually get a plus on our finances. Whenever you get the good relations with the Mamelukes, you can invite the Shafi scholars, which give you +1 merchants, and make sure to use these extra merchants wisely. One option would be sending him to transfer trade from Alexandria. After you do that, declare war on whoever you've got your truce finished with. Go for that and make sure that you take it out as soon as you can. Do remember whilst you're doing this that you want to be building as many galleys as you can to fight off the Byzantines once you've taken over the rest of the Anatolian Beyliks, since we need to make sure that both Byzantium and the Ottomans do not exist in order for us to form the Sultanate of Rum. After you manage to peace out the Kandars, take everything they have and all of their cash as well. I also recommend deleting the fort in Sinop, as we really don't need a fort in a grasslands province. So call in the Mamluks and go to war. Make sure you take over the parts in the north before the Mamluks do, just in case, and let the Mamluks take over the southern parts. RNGesus strikes again, and this time it decided that I should not get the province of Erzurum, which I need to form Rum. Instead, Georgia snapped it from me. However, I did take the southern two parts, and the Mamluks are actually happy with that. They're not interested in that. Unfortunately, they're interested in my lands more than that part, and I'll be taking all of the lands I can and give Raqqa to the Mamluks, as well as take their cash. Once your truce with the Ottomans expires, declare war and make sure they take out all of their Anatolian holdings as fast as you can, and keep the fleet that should be quite considerable by now in the Sea of Marmara to prevent their main army from joining and killing you off in Anatolia here. Taking over all of the Anatolian holdings in the second war should give you about 70% war score after it fully ticks up, and even more if you can take Smyrna as well, and the Knights did not take it. A lot of the times, if the Ottomans are weak, all of their neighbors, including Serbians, Wallachians, and so on, will attack them. If that happens, try to prevent them from taking the province of Silistre or Burgas, depending on whichever they hold, as you want to take either Silistre or Burgas in order to release Bulgaria as a vassal and feed Bulgaria their cores in the next war, as well as take all of the bordering provinces by the sea that the Ottomans have, so that you prevent other nations from taking their provinces afterwards, and as much money as you can. This will give you usually a coalition of other Turkish Beyliks, namely Akoyunlu Ottomans, so you don't need to worry about it too much. Use the cash to pay off as many loans as you can and release Bulgaria as your vassal. Remember that we still need the province of Erzurum in order to form Rum, so declare war on whoever has it. After we manage to take Erzurum, we are going to be coring it, and it looks like the Border Gore wars have finished, and it's still horrible and disgusting, the Balkans. Germiana is Germi gone, and now the next target is going to be the Byzantines. We do want to take over our Bulgarian vassals' cores from the Byzantines, as well as take over Istanbul or Constantinople. Peace out, take as much as you can from the Byzantines, and make sure to take the rest of your vassals' cores from your neighbors. After you've managed to take out the Byzantines and the Ottomans, you will be able to form the Sultanate of Rum, as long as you have certain provinces, which I obviously have by now. Before you do form, do take note that you will definitely be struggling with technology, and you will be way behind everybody else, considering your starting ruler was absolute trash. And in my case, I was super lucky to get a 6th admin heir, and who eventually became my ruler. And my first idea, speaking of, will be an admin idea, but if I had extra military points, I would have gone for a military idea. Before we do go to the ideas, we're going to be restoring the Sultanate of Rum. We're going to get the ambitions and traditions, as well as the Ottoman government type, which is one of the strongest government types in the game. Now this also means that we can actually assign pashas, and we also can conscript local janissaries from non-Muslim provinces. Janissaries are a special unit available only to the Ottomans and the Sultanate of Rum. You can also enact the Devshirme system, which costs 100 military power but gives you plus 10 national manpower modifier until the end of the game. Rum does not unfortunately have its own mission tree, but hopefully we will have one added in the near future. You also have the available option of making Constantinople the capital once you integrate your Bulgarian vassal and take Burgas as your full core. This is going to give you 1 stability, as well as change the name of Constantinople and change the religion to Sunni and culture to Turkish. It will also make the government of Rum an empire, thus leveling you up without you needing to have 1,000 development and 75 prestige. In order to form Rum, it means that you pretty much took care of the Ottomans as well as the Byzantines, so you should definitely have a firm grasp on the Anatolian Peninsula and the Greek Peninsula. You are basically replacing the Ottomans, which means that you have the option of expanding into the west, namely the Christian lands, as well as into the south, or namely Mamluks, and into the east, namely the Persian lands. You definitely have a lot of expansion paths available to you, so that is not going to be an issue. When discussing your first idea set, I highly recommend going for religious, as you want to get the 75% Deus Vult Casus Belli, since you will be fighting a lot of various different religions. As a second idea, I would recommend going for quantity, as you need to have a lot of troops, and religious with quantity gives you plus 10 morale of armies from their policy, so it is really good. Another great military idea would be offensive, or if you want to go for another admin idea, then I would recommend going for administrative ideas, as it gives you minus 25% core creation cost, which combined with your own nation's minus 20% core creation cost means your coring provinces are basically half the price. I hope you guys enjoyed this video, and if you did, don't forget to leave a like, comment, and subscribe, as well as leave the bell button on. I also want to thank my patrons. If you'd like to become one of my patrons, then check the link in the description. And until the next one, have a great day.